Hi everybody, welcome back to my little studio. I'm Reese. If this is your first time, welcome. In my last video, I went over some of the work that I did during Inktober or October. I did a whole selection of illustrations from my imagination in a little moleskin sketchbook. But it's not the norm. It's not what I always do around here. I've done illustration in my past, but on this channel, mostly I do more realistic looking watercolors, drawings, oils, gouache, that sort of thing. But I want to share with you how, if you develop those skills, how you can merge it with realism. And I want to give you an example today of someone that I adore and have always adored, and how they did that. Even when you don't think, even when you don't realize an artist is doing that, they often are, or are at some point, editing something, moving a tree out of the way, shifting objects around, adding in something completely that is not there in reality. So that's what I want to talk to you about today and give you some of those examples. So coming off of Inktober, I got back into this Art Creations sketchbook by New Talons. The pages are really thin. It's just a place to doodle for me at this point. I had done these gessoed pages initially and tried to actually use them for gouache, but they didn't work really great, I felt. Now I just doodle ideas and things in here, but just starting to doodle again. I did this from my imagination right when I got done with Inktober, and this is just a good example of perspective. And I'm just wondering what you think. Where do you think that you are actually at? If you are in this picture, where are you? Do you know where you are? Can you tell? So I'm going to tell you. You're actually in the water. You're probably about neck deep, and you can see the lake in front of you, and you can see underneath the lily pads and the edge of the lake in the distance, and the underneath of the bellies of the birds. Now this looks more realistic, but this was completely drawn from my imagination. I didn't look at not one thing in order to do this. Now, someone was asking me in the questions about how do I, especially with human beings, draw them in so many variations of poses. And it's really through a lot of time and testing and drawing a lot that you can start doing that, as well as actually attending classes like life drawing classes, so that you can start to be more familiar with the body and how it looks at different angles. You can even do life drawing classes like on YouTube. There's places like that you can draw from people posing different poses. But it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. It's far from perfect, like this lily pad, because sometimes they come out of the water and they rise above the other ones that are just floating. And but this one, I'm like, I don't really know if this is technically, because it looks a little more mushroomy to me, but I was thinking about all the lines. But what I will do if I have an idea like this and I want it to become more realistic is I'll start off with an idea, I'll sketch it out. I may not even go this far, but then I'll start researching things. I'll start pulling up different images and just searching on lily pads, that sorts of things. And then birds. Many years ago, I used to live in a townhome on a lake, and there were always these birds. I think they were swallows that would come through, and they would dip into the lake and make this beautiful sparkling motion from their dipping on the lake and the sun shining on it where they had dipped, and it was really gorgeous. So that's kind of what I had in mind. Not that these looked like those birds. I just, like I said, made this all up from my imagination. But this is what I've been doing recently. So all of this is from my imagination. Every single thing on these pages just sketched out in pencil, just a cheap pencil actually for these. This cheap Bic pen. It's 0.7 millimeters, HB number 2. You can get a pack of these for super cheap. But I have cheap ones for like my handbag, just carry with me on the go. And then I have more expensive ones, like these fancy Staedtler. Staedtler, Mars Lumograph. These are some of my more fancier, but I have a variation of really nice pencils to draw with. But yeah, everything was from my imagination. Coming off from what I was doing before, this is what started first. This girl just sitting on a chair. She sort of looks Asian, and she's just sitting on this bench. And there's this image of a dragon behind her. So this is a water dragon. It's a dragon. See, you can see the cattails. It's a water dragon, and that's very Asian, the water dragons. And I'm going to show you something else that I did that this came from. I've had this going for a while, but I had done it before, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But these three guys, I thought it might be nice to try to do something with them, take them to the next stage of this thumbnail. This is probably a more advanced thumbnail. It's not a quick thumbnail. It's a more advanced thumbnail. Just playing. And like I said, just coming up with things from my imagination. This one actually is a representation of a tree that I go out in the woods, and there's one tree that kind of looks like I don't know, hair blowing in the wind, because it's been so suppressed with all the growth over it that it's all the spindly, just intertwined branches that really look fascinating, but are often hard to draw or depict. But I didn't look at anything this time and just did this from my imagination. So a couple years ago, I thought I'd like to get into bullet journaling. And so I tried my hand at that for a bit. And this is actually a bullet journal, because there was a lot of people on YouTube that are illustrating in bullet journals. And I really loved seeing some of the illustrations. So I got this fancy bullet journal as a result, and I'll show you what I did that never got really completed. So this is a water dragon. I had penciled him in, and then I had used gouache. It's very graphic looking. All the lines are very rounded and illustrated looking, and so that's where he came from, this sketch that I'm working on now. It actually was something that came up for me from, there was a Korean drama that I was watching at that time. It was called The Bride of Habaek, and it was about the river god. He was a god, but he looked like a person, and he came to Earth. But anyways, that's where this came from. But what this really is a tapestry behind her on the wall. That's what it's supposed to be, because really it doesn't make sense otherwise. But I came up with the idea, I started sketching it in, and then it's slowly gotten more and more finished. So I might eventually do something with that. But that's how things start transitioning, how things are influenced by other things, and then it might become something more prominent. I might do a painting from it or something. We'll see. But I wanted to talk to you about something else that I've been working on. So this is that painting that I've been working on, watercolor, inside my sketchbook. So it's just a sketchbook. It's a sketchbook that you've seen before. But I got paused right here because I was wrapping up Inktober and other things. And then I started thinking, this was looking so finished that maybe I should do it on a regular piece of paper. I don't know, I haven't started it yet because I got distracted with other things this week. Lots of stuff going on. My friend lost her mom, and so I had to go to a service to memorialize her mom, and just lots of goings on, work and everything. So after coming off Inktober, I really have not gotten a chance to do a whole lot much more work other than the doodling that I've been showing you that I do, like on the couch or during lunchtime, you know, that sort of thing. And I actually have some extra little doodles that I've done in that little black moleskin that I'm working on. But this is how I'm going to bring this back for you. Because I know some of you really weren't excited about seeing the imagination stuff. But I want you to realize how relevant this is and how often that artists use this. So this is actually from a photograph that I took in Pennsylvania. But I've been in this location. I've taken this photograph myself, and all I'm depicting in this instance is truly my photograph. I took multiple pictures. I walked all the way around this tree and toward this house. It's a historical home. And so I know this very, very well. I know exactly where I'm at in this picture. But this tree and this home, this place, was also painted by Andrew Wyeth. And I'm going to share with you that now. So this is the same painting. Now it's pretty dark on the inside this book. And only thing else I have is I got a copy of this printed. Hopefully the glare won't affect you too much. And I don't know if it'll be easy to see because it still looks pretty dark. This painting is really quite large. It's a 35 by 47 inch tempera on panel. And it's from the Brandywine River Museum of Art in Pennsylvania. And it's called Pennsylvania Landscape, so you can look it up for yourself. But so my angle is down here. So I'm down here. But one thing I'll tell you, this hill's not that drastic, and there is no way Andrew Wyeth is up this high. The only way that he could possibly even have been in this particular angle on this tree is to been on some sort of a I don't know, a really tall ladder, or a bed of a truck up on a ladder, or he's quite elevated because this tree is massive. I'm probably, I took a picture of myself in front of this tree, and I'm about as tall as that right there. Just the very bottom. It's so big. They said that in the book here, they said in the book that it's a buttonwood tree, but that's not what we call them down here. But irregardless, I know this location, and this landscape has changed drastically. The main road is down here. I don't remember a river being here unless it was completely hidden by woods and everything. But a lot of this has been exaggerated and made up and altered by his imagination. He's been here. I know he's done studies. He's done tons of pencil studies. He does that everywhere. Or he did that everywhere he went. And you will see when you look at his work. But he liked doing lots of studies, and so he did study it a lot. He did lots of pencil drawings of this tree and of this building, just working out the details of it before he started changing anything and making anything his own and utilizing his imagination. Going back to my book again, you can see how much more flatter this is. There's not this drastic hill. Otherwise, this tree would be gone. It wouldn't be still in existence. And I know for a fact that this is the tree. And I've confirmed that as I walked around it, having the book with me when I was there. Not the book that you saw, but a different book. And I was able to confirm it's the exact same building, same structure, everything. I was exactly in the same spot. And so this is an example how very famous artists, all artists probably, utilize their imagination at one time or another. So this is why it's good and it's beneficial for you to actually use your imagination. But this is why I really believe that being able to utilize your imagination and practicing drawing from your imagination is always a beneficial thing, because eventually you want to tweak things. You want to move things around. You want to adjust the height of things. And obviously he clearly did that here. So it's one of my favorites, to be honest with you. And to see it in person, as huge as it is, with the detail of tempera, wow, it's breathtaking. No print, no book print can ever do it justice. So I was very lucky to see this in Pennsylvania at the Brandywine Museum. I actually got this book from the Brandywine Museum when I was there. It's a really good book, and I believe this is still online. You can buy it. If you can't buy this on Amazon, you can go to the Brandywine Museum and look at their shop. They have lots of books and prints and things that you can buy. I really like this one a lot. It has great pictures. I'll show you in a second a glimpse of this. But his granddaughter, Victoria Wyeth, really likes this book right here that I showed you before. The Two Worlds of Andrew Wyeth, the Cooners and the Olsons. It's an older book. You can find this online for pretty cheap, like on eBay or something like that. They might even have something available on Amazon from a secondhand seller or something like that. Seller. She liked this one a lot because the author actually interviewed Andy and asked him questions, and so this is why she thought it was a really valuable book. But I don't think for the visual prints that it's as good, maybe because it's older. But coming back to this book really quick, I'll flip through this. Like, it actually has images from his studio, which I got to visit when I was there. This is actual picture from inside the studio. He had the tiniest little dilapidated studio that looked like it was falling apart compared to his dad's, which was down the street, N.C. Wyeth. He had, the home was nice, the building was nice, but the actual room where he painted was quite small. This is his studio. It said on the door, because he had so many people try to come up and talk to him, it says, "I am working, so please do not disturb. I do not sign autographs." And I got to take a picture in front of this door. So I felt really fortunate after spending a lifetime just loving and adoring Andrew Wyeth's work. So I would recommend this book. It's one of my favorites for sure. And if you don't know Andrew Wyeth, if you've never, you might have seen this image right here. This is called Christina's World. This is his most famous piece of work. It was sold for a ridiculous amount of money because it was one of his biggest, it was the beginning of his career. And they really got a steal on that. And this is a portion of that painting up close. I have not seen this one. You have to go to New York to see this painting. It's at the Modern Museum of Art, and that is if it's up. So many times during the year, the Brandywine Museum actually gives talks with Andrew Wyeth's granddaughter, Victoria Wyeth, and talks to her about her grandfather, and she shows examples of his work and talks about him and tells stories about the family. And I've attended these twice, but I just attended one right before Halloween because the Wyeths loved Halloween, or they still do actually, but they love Halloween and they love to have all kinds of parties and celebrate it. So she was dressed up, Victoria was, and she was talking about the stories and showing examples. It's really lovely because for $25, you pay $25 for, it's a Zoom meeting, and the money goes towards the museum, of course, just helping the museum, which of course I really want to keep well preserved, loving his work and his father's work so much. So I really have liked doing that the 2 times I've done that. But I thought maybe I might ask her if I join another time, if I get a chance, about this question, about how he would change the perspective of things, or how he would just go about, just altering things a bit in his work, or he's done some dream sequences and that sort of thing. But if you love Andrew Wyeth like I love Andrew Wyeth, I recommend you checking out their website if you're interested in maybe attending one of those future upcoming Zoom sessions with Victoria. This is actually a book that I have of Victoria's that she made. I don't know if it's out of print, but it's lots of old famous pictures of Andrew Wyeth and the Wyeth family. Thought I'd show you that really quick. It's really for people that love this subject so much. So it's really good. And this is at the Corner Farm. I got a chance to stand right there as well. So pretty cool to see that and get a chance to actually listen to her talk about her dad in real time. If you ever get a chance, I highly recommend it. But even more so if you get a chance to go to the Brandywine Valley area, I highly recommend going to see that as well. Finally, one thing I want to share with you before I wrap up today's video, which is getting a little long, I think. I have this book, Andrew Wyeth's Memory and Magic, which I think it's a great book, but I want to share with you, I found another image of that buttonwood tree, or we call them sycamore down here. This is that same tree, but now the house is gone. The building that was over here is gone. He's put this figure in, but see how elevated he is in this tree? That's another image from his imagination. Again, after doing a lot of really detailed studies of a landscape and the tree structure, he started moving around in his mind and working out some ideas to represent it from different angles, which I think is really quite fun. It's a great image. And these are another couple of images that he did from his imagination. This is an image after someone he knew passed away. I can't remember if it was his father. I'd have to look that up. This is tempera on panel, 23 3/4 by 38 3/4, and this one's called Night Hauling. So it's a painting, an image about his friend who would go out and I think he's fishing for lobsters, but it's at night where all that luminescence is in the ocean. But he obviously couldn't have been there for this. So, but these are a couple of other examples where you can realize that as long as you've spent some time developing both your skills in studying realism, objects, life, nature from realism, and also working on playing with your imagination, how you can start merging these two worlds into one unique creation that no one else can reproduce because it's completely 100% your own. All right, guys. Well, I am going to be back very soon, and I will wish you all a beautiful, wonderful, blessed weekend ahead, and I'll see you soon. Bye.